straight. He's got a slipstream. He almost touches Verstappen. They almost make contact into turn 9. Verstappen stays ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Of all the drama, of all the controversy, of all the magic moments in Formula 1 in 2021, it comes down to this. And at this moment, it looks like it's going to go the way of Max Verstappen. Mercedes not happy. Red Bull will be delighted. They have shared a brilliant championship battle, but the championship can only be won by one, and it's going Dutch in 2021. Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world. Lewis Hamilton finishes in second place after leading for so long.
Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger.
Right, well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all safe, I hope you are all well. As you can tell from the intro, today we're going to talk about Formula 1, the conclusion of the 2021 season that took place Sunday just gone at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and the controversy that surrounds it. Now before we get started, I just want to say it's been a great season. I'm so happy that Lewis Hamilton has had someone that could seriously challenge him in Max Verstappen and Red Bull. And it's just been fantastic to actually see a championship fight. A few years ago, Sebastian used to be a bit of a rival for Hamilton in the Ferrari, but it never really amounted to much. But this year, it's just been gripping. There's been controversy, there's been action every single step of the way. But unfortunately, that has sometimes ruined it. So, for those of you who don't watch F1, let me just give you the scenario. So, going into Sunday's finale Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were tied at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Both of them just needing to beat the other one in the last race to secure the championship for themselves. Now, the race, pretty straightforward. An incident right at the start between them, but not amounting to anything, no investigation from the stewards. Lewis Hamilton dominating the race. The Mercedes in the past few weeks has just been incredible. Finally, we get some real tasty action towards the end. Williams' Nicholas Latifi slams his car into the barrier, triggering a safety car. Now the safety car comes out. Obviously cars have to get behind the safety car and travel at the speed that the safety car is going, which is obviously a lot slower than a Formula 1 car. So Max Verstappen and Red Bull, they take this opportunity. They bring Max into the pits. They give him a fresh set of soft compound tyres, the most grippiest and performance-based tyres, whilst Mercedes keep Hamilton out on his very used hard compound tyres, the long-lasting tyres, but not much performance. He'd been on them for about 30 or so laps, so yeah, the performance was really starting to wear off them. And I wonder what she was looking at. And yeah, whilst Max is in the pits, he gets obviously the lapped cars, the cars that Lewis and him have been lapping because of their dominance. They retake their positions, if you will. They unlap themselves because Max is in the pits. Max comes back out behind, I think, 5 cars and the safety car. The FIA normally on a safety car, I wouldn't say normally, but the ruling is if you're going to, you would get all the lapped cars out of the way. So, and I don't just mean the ones there, I mean all of them. So anyone that's been lapped normally gets to unlap themselves. This, depending on the dominance of Hamilton and Verstappen, can take a few laps. The FIA originally decided that they weren't going to allow any lapped cars to unlap themselves. This obviously didn't please Red Bull because they just put Max on the soft tyre, the quickest, and they thought he had a genuine chance to win the race and win the Drivers' Championship. In a remarkable turn of events, the FIA reversed their decision, and not only reversed it, but they said only the 5 lap cars between Verstappen and Hamilton would be allowed to go past the safety car and effectively unlap themselves. This obviously triggered a huge outrage from Mercedes, as this severely disadvantaged Lewis Hamilton on, as I mentioned, his old hard tyres. So on the penultimate lap, the safety car comes in. we're told we're going back to green flag racing, which we do on the very final lap. And would you believe it, of course, Verstappen with the Red Bull pace, fresh, soft tyres, he chases Hamilton down. He overtakes him with, you know, a few, you know, I think maybe the first sector, maybe just going into the second sector, and they battle for that final lap. How Lewis even managed to keep battling with those tyres, I'll never understand. But Max ultimately comes out the winner. He finds the checkered flag, he finds the finish line, he wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and he becomes the first Dutch world champion. His first championship, his first world championship in his career. Oh boy, but the events after the race. Oh. Right, just stopped off for a little bite to eat at the Hitching Cafe. Never been there before. Very nice. I need fuel, but on my way there, let's carry on, shall we? So after the race, the drama, more drama. Mercedes lodged 2 protests for the race result. I think the first one was for the safety car procedure not being carried out correctly. Now I think what Mercedes, if I can remember the document, the gist of their protest for that was that the procedure was not followed correctly. All the safety cars, all the lapped cars should have been allowed to unlap themselves, and also that once all the lapped cars have unlapped themselves, the safety car is then meant to come in on the following lap, which in this case would have been the final lap, and we would have finished the race under the safety car, which Mercedes believe is the correct procedure, and that's what should have happened. Lewis Hamilton should have won. Lewis Hamilton should have been world champion. The other protest was regarding Max Verstappen's driving under the safety car conditions, where they had protested that he had overtaken slightly. He had just overtaken Hamilton slightly. Overtaking under the safety car is obviously a big no-no, obviously for safety reasons. Now, the FIA straight away, well, I say straight away, but it wasn't as much time as I thought it was going to be, but they dismissed both protests. Mercedes were obviously, their first protest was for, they were sort of reading rule article 14, I don't know what it is, I think it's 84 or 83 or something. And basically the FIA just sort of said, well, article 1485 override, or 84, if it was 83 then it overrides with 84, and if it was 84 it overrides with 85. And that's basically that once the message safety car in this lap is displayed to all the drivers, it's mandatory that the safety car returns to the pits on that current lap, which in this case was the penultimate lap, which allowed for one final lap of green flag racing between Hamilton and Verstappen. In regards to Verstappen's driving under the safety car, interestingly, the FIA said that they agreed that Verstappen did overtake slightly under safety car conditions, but they believed that he made considerable effort with plenty of time before the safety car returned to the pits to return to the correct position, to allow obviously for a legal restart. So straight away, both protests dismissed, out of the question. Get in the bin, Mercedes, effectively is what they said. Now, along with the dismissals from the FIA, Michael Massey, the race director, he also issued a bit of a clarification, a bit of an explanation, if you will, as to his actions. And he said that before the race, it was verbally agreed between all teams that pretty much all effort would be made to ensure that the race finished under green flag conditions and not a safety car. This is obviously because the FIA want to keep the season, you know, the finale interesting. You know, people were tuning in all over the world. They want it to be tense. They want it to go right down to the wire between Hamilton and Verstappen. And so they said they did all that they could, and that all the teams agreed they would do all that they could. which in turn contradicts the radio messages from Toto Wolff, the Mercedes team principal, saying that the safety car decision wasn't right, etc, etc, as it played into Red Bull's hands. So what is the aftermath of all of this drama? Well, now the FIA are considering a radio ban next season for team principals, team bosses, because the race director Michael Massey was just being absolutely, you know, verbally abused, I imagine. He was being shouted at by Toto Wolff, by Christian Horner. You know, Christian Horner from Red Bull is trying to tell him to get the lap cars out of the way. Toto Wolff said earlier in the race, no safety car for an incident involving Antonio Giovinazzi of Alfa Romeo. They're trying to influence the decisions of the race director. It's a bit like football, you know, when they all surround the referee and they all, you know, they go nuts about it, don't they? A decision, and they all try and, you know, say that, oh, you know, it wasn't me, or oh, it was fine, it was a fair challenge, etc, etc. But yeah, it was ridiculous, and it really did put, you know, they've been doing it all year, and it has been putting a sour note on it. Formula One's always had drama, and it's always had characters, and it's always had hot-headedness. Michael Schumacher famously stormed to David Coulthard's garage after he rear-ended him, going back a little bit. So, you know, adrenaline runs high, emotions run high, but I don't know, they're two grown men, you know, they're team bosses, they're team principals, they're meant to set the example, and for me it's just not nice. Championship should be determined on the track and not on not via radio. So the radio ban is being considered by the FIA. We'll see what happens there. People are calling for Michael Massey to be removed as race director. Some people don't think he's strong enough to deal with this, and they're calling for a more experienced head. I don't know the name because I don't watch WRC, but apparently it's the WRC race director. Apparently he's got something like 20 odd years of experience as race directing, so that's the people's choice. And yeah, it's that would be sad as well, because I don't know, I do feel a bit sorry for Michael Massey, but at the same time, you know, if you are in that position, you've got to be strong-minded, you've got to be able to say no. He did at the end when Toto Wolff was complaining, sort of, you know, say this is motor racing, this is motorsport, you know, deal with it. But I don't know, maybe too little too late. In terms of the dismissed protest, Mercedes said that they were intending to appeal, but they've now said that they're going to withdraw that. And I think they've just bitterly accepted that it is what it is. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that just wasn't their day, and that's the end of it. I think they're trying to savour maybe an image, because, you know, it doesn't look good, does it? Fair play to Lewis Hamilton, because on the day him and his father handled it brilliantly. Very respectful. That was nice, that was cool. Very respectful, you know, congratulating Max and his father, congratulating Red Bull. Real sportsmanship like behaviour from Lewis Hamilton, but yeah, from Toto and maybe the rest of Mercedes, who also turned up to the Grand Prix with a legal team, I found out. It's ridiculous, and it spoils the sport, and so I think they're trying to save some image a little bit. But because of this, you know, Lewis Hamilton obviously feels a bit hard done by. I think I would if I had controversially lost a record breaking. You know, if he'd won the championship, that would have been his 8th world championship. He'd have surpassed Michael Schumacher. And there's rumours now that he's a bit unhappy and he's considering retirement. He does enter the final year of his contract next year, and the rules are changing dramatically. The rules, the regulations, you know, the car design, etc. It's the cars look really, really booky for next year. But so maybe he's thinking, do I just go out, you know, 7-time world champion, domination of the hybrid turbo era? I don't know. It'd be sad to see Lewis go like that, but at the same time, you know, he's going to have a career in whatever he does, because he's got multiple avenues to exploit. So we'll see what happens. But for me, yeah, just a sour note, really. It's not a good end to the season. It's been such an entertaining season, and it's had controversy, but it's been controversy that I can deal with to an extent. What's really disappointed me is Mercedes and Red Bull as teams. The drivers are the drivers. I expect bitterness, I expect hot-headedness. You know, Lewis has said things, Max has said things, Lewis has done things, Max has done things. I mean, Monza, I think it was, where Max parked his car on Lewis, literally on top of Lewis. You know, there's arguments who's in the right, who's in the wrong, but then Silverstone, does Max have that corner? Does Lewis go in knowing he's going to make contact with Max? You never know, do you? You never know any of this stuff because you're not behind the wheel, but I expect that to a degree. But from the teams have been trying to win this season all year from the stewards and from penalties and investigations and protests, and I just hate it. Don't get me wrong, you have to protest when something illegal is being done, like an illegal car with more power or an illegal rear wing, as was with Mercedes earlier on in the year. But every single race, you're just getting you're getting Toto Wolff or Christian Horner moaning to the race director and the FIA. It's pathetic. I never want to see a championship won this way ever again. I just want it to be settled on the track, you know, like racing should be. So hopefully Lewis decides to stay in Formula 1 for one more year. Hopefully him and Max can battle it out once again. See if Max Verstappen can retain his driver championship, or if Lewis Hamilton could win a record-breaking 8th, or maybe someone else might win it. Obviously, with the regulation change, normally the field gets shuffled up a little bit, so you never know. You might see Fernando Alonso in the Alpine, or Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin pushing for the title. I mean, of course, it could be anyone else. Could be Lando Norris at McLaren or whatever have you. But yeah, it should be an interesting year. It's been a great year this year. I can't wait for the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. We'll see what action and behind the scene footage that brings, but hopefully we never see a title won this way ever again. But on that note, congratulations to Max Verstappen, commiserations to Lewis Hamilton. Thank you both so much for an entertaining year, for a thrilling season, and for all those F1 fans out there. 3 months. I think it's now, yeah, just over. I think, yeah, what was it? Yesterday or so it was the 16th. So just under. Oh no, yeah, just under 6 months now. Sorry, 3 months. It's gonna feel like 6 months until the 2022 season gets underway. Gutting, isn't it? Also, on a side note, it was Kimi Raikkonen's final F1 race as he now enters retirement, and I'm really depressed about that because he's been my favourite driver ever since I started watching the sport back in the early 2000s. Missed him when he took that 2-year break to go do rally and NASCAR, and yeah, now he's leaving forever, and I'm just gutted. Nothing more to add. I'm depressed, and there will never be anyone like Kimi Raikkonen, so it is what it is. But I'll savour that 2007 World Championship. Yeah, I will. Best season ever. Right, you lovely lot. My hands are cold. I've spoken for far too long. This was meant to be a quick video. I knew it wouldn't turn out to be because I knew I would start ranting and raving and whatever have you. But yeah, I'm going to end it now. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you are all having a great time and enjoy the weekend ahead. And yeah, remember to like, remember to comment. I do respond to all my comments. I love hearing from you all. And of course, remember to subscribe. Vitally important. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, cheers.